I'm obsessed with this guy as well as Jimmy. Jimmy's big time obsessed with this guy, and I'm recently obsessed with this guy. Talking about Philippe Petit, and he'll be on the show today to talk about his little walk between the Twin Towers back in 1974. Yeah, there's a documentary out called Man on a Wire, and I watched it yesterday. It's horrifying. We'll explain that next. We'll talk about the film a little bit after the break. Okay. It's Jimmy and I today. 877-212-ONA. Opie and Anthony.
Hey, this is Dominic Chianese. You know me. I play Uncle Junior on The Sopranos, right? Yeah. You're listening to Opie and Anthony.
Let's get ready to chuckle.
You're listening to Opie and Anthony Show. You're listening to Opie and Anthony.
God damn it! Fuck this show. Take this fucking show and forget it. Forget fucking bastard.
Hey, good morning to everybody. You got Jimmy and I today. Phone number 877-212-ONA. Front page of the paper today. You got Brittany's Brittany smoking in front of her kid. You see this, Jimmy?
No, I'm looking at it now.
Brittany kid's smoke bomb. We got a lot of parents that are listening to this radio show, and they could totally relate to this. This is a no big deal type of thing. The paparazzi, they got a picture of quote, hot mama, almost hot again mama. She's getting there. Britney Spears, she's smoking a cigarette, right? And she's got her little son, Sean Preston, too. And he's reaching for the cigarettes that happen to be on a little table. And he's got a lighter in his right hand. And they're making a big deal out of this picture, like she's a bad mom or something.
Amazing.
Blah, 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 blah.
The kid's probably just like asking her if she needs one or do you want one. It's so stupid. Who cares? If the kid was smoking, that'd be kind of cute, actually.
Well, parents, I mean, we could talk to the parents, but at this age, 2 years old, this kid doesn't even know that it's a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. It's just a toy to him.
Well, what if he was saying, Mommy, no more smoking? And what if he was taking it away from her?
Yeah, that's a good point, too.
And remember, K-Fed, the ex-husband, used to be the bad guy. He was the one they were all saying, he's a bad influence on her. When did this happen?
When K-Fed's music, here's what changed us about K-Fed. When he taught us how to dance. Popazao. I mean, come on. Don't act like you don't love him.
Who doesn't love
terrific.
Popazao?
Remember when he was on the Teen Choice Awards and Britney introduced him? It was like she had a rifle. I've seen hostage videos that were more happily delivered. She so
didn't want to do that.
Oh, was she embarrassed to have to introduce that boob?
Yeah.
She didn't. She's like, my man, Kevin Federline. It was so painful. She was pregnant.
Like, ugh.
She just wanted to have her baby and be left alone.
And then if you go further into the paper, it's very obvious that Brittany is acknowledging that the kid got her cigarettes and a lighter, and she's basically taking the cigarettes and lighter away from the kid. Yeah. So just nonsense on the front page today. And then you got this bitch, the YouTube divorce woman.
Yep.
This is good news for the guys there. She went on YouTube and was bitching and complaining about this guy she was married to, the blonde. Most people remember this, right?
Do we have any of the audio of this? This was audio.
Why would we have it today?
We did do this, right?
Yeah, we did do this.
Okay.
I'm trying not to bitch today. I want to do a lot of bitching today.
I just want the audio.
If the broad is on the front page of the paper, don't you think we should have what?
I've been looking for it all morning. You're talking into the...
I've been looking for it all morning.
Wait, is she on the...
Well, where did it go?
Is it on YouTube still?
We did like hours on this lady.
Is it still on YouTube, York?
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right.
Whatever. You guys continue doing what you're doing. It's great.
Well, she was the lady, because I do remember we heard audio of her, who was like, she was crying that he's going to put her out in the street, and she was going to be left like destitute or whatever she wanted. She was appealing to the public.
Right.
But she came off like a spoiled rich bitch.
She sounded like a complete ass, absolutely. Well, guess what? She's got to beat it. She's got 30 days to get out of her really, really nice pad on the Upper East Side here in New York. and they're saying that the prenup holds, and they're going to follow the prenup, and she's got to go find somewhere else to live. So
yeah, she was mad that he was throwing her out, but there was a prenuptial, and it's amazing how women will fight a prenup. I don't understand why. If you sign the document, I guess they assume that there will be a loophole, or that they'll threaten to embarrass the husband, and he'll go against the prenup.
Right, and the prenup was more than fair. The amount of money she gets through the prenup is ridiculous.
How much is she getting? $750,000.
Yeah, she's woe is me over $750,000, and then I'm sure there's other things in there as well.
Yeah, he's happy. He said, "I'm happy with the decision of the judge. I'm happy with the outcome." And she obviously didn't think it's the same way. She said it's disgusting. She said, "I think it's disgusting. I'm really, really disappointed with the decision." She accused Smith of basically throwing me out on the street.
Right.
Like with $750,000, you can't either rent a nice place or put a down payment on a great place and then get a job. But the prostitution, I mean, it's like you forget that could be a fine bridge between an unpleasant divorce and a new life. Like you could hook for a little while. Women are never going to starve.
Right.
You could always do that. If I get fired from here or I can't do stand-up, I'm in trouble.
You could do a little hooking, though.
I don't know. I don't have a good enough body. I would love to think I'm waif thin enough. But older men tend to prefer twinks. But I'm almost at a point where I can be like a silver dad.
What's a silver dad?
Funny you should ask. That's a term that the older gay guys use for like for older, younger.
Yeah.
They have like these dad-son thing. It's so creepy sounding. Like
repulsive.
A silver dad.
So what? You got a little gray hair?
I'm guessing gray hair.
And you like the...
You guess, yeah, like a youngster. Not an underage youngster. I mean, 20 to 25, or a silver dad, I'm guessing would be in his 50s or maybe
silver
older.
Dad in his 50s, gray hair, and he likes the...
Yeah, silver bear. Yeah, it's a little gross.
That's just wonderful.
A lot of man-to-man kissing.
Men on the Wire.
Philippe's...
I'm obsessed now with Philippe Petit, or, in America, he's called Philippe Petit.
Yeah. Andy's creepy French brother.
Stupid French have to make everything sound good.
But by the way,
Philippe Petit.
As much as we give the French crap about being like, they're cowards because they're military, the two craziest son of a bitches are him and Alain Robert.
Right.
These daredevils are always French.
Yeah, we like to think the French are a little, swishy, but they do some crazy daredevil things. So you really should look up Men on the Wire, and I don't know. If you're into this daredevil stuff, it's a really, really good documentary, and we got Philippe Petit coming in within the hour. And I saw it yesterday, and I'm just horrified by what this guy did back in 1974. Horrified. Philippe Petit was like a street magician, and he did some of this tight roping. And he decided he was in the dentist's office or something.
Yeah,
when he was a little kid.
Yep.
And he's getting like a root canal or something, and he sees a magazine where they're showing that they're building like the tallest buildings in the world here in New York, or at least they got the plans, and in the end it's going to be the biggest building in the world. And at that moment he claims, which is a little far-fetched, but we'll go with it, that someday he's going to tightrope across the two buildings.
And he said he stole the ad. Like, he ripped the ad out of the magazine.
Yeah. And
he actually didn't even go through his appointment. He actually left the dentist's office. Yeah. It was a drawing, a mock-up in the magazine of these two buildings. And it's kind of believable, because as a tightrope guy, it's almost like if you see a photo of two giant... Because tightrope walkers don't normally get two massive buildings of the same height.
Right.
If you see that as a tightrope walker, that probably is your first thought. Like, wow,
sure,
that would be great to make an ass out of myself in between those two things.
And he did a little tightrope between the two... What would you call them? The two towers at Notre Dame?
How high is that?
Not as high as the Twin Towers, but it's pretty impressive. He did that. He did something down in Sydney across the bridge.
Right.
That huge bridge down there.
All these weird landmark places.
Right. And you fast forward a couple decades, they build the Twin Towers, and he decides to do it. And the planning that went into this was years and years of meticulously planning for this tightrope across the Twin Towers. And the documentary is amazing. He's a little swishy, and he's very animated, but a bit swishy.
But he's not gay, because he was with that chick for a long time. Because you watch it, you go, "Is this guy gay?" I don't think he is. I think he's just...
That's what I was asking that same question yesterday when I was watching it with some people. I'm like, because I always think of like my friendship with you, Jimmy, and I'm like, I've never given Jimmy a piggyback ride before.
I've often. Remember?
Because all of a sudden they're laughing and they're running in the field together. I'm like, I guess I should explain further. Like, he had a whole crew of people.
Yeah.
And they would do the tight roping with these landmarks and stuff. And it's not just Philippe Petit. He has a crew that sets up the tightrope and make sure everything goes smoothly. And they train and all this. And they had this big, huge field wherever the hell he's from. And they would set up the tightrope and they would practice there. And next thing you know, they're just running in the field with each other and tackling each other. And then there's another scene where Philippe Petit is getting a piggyback ride from his pal. And every time one of these things happen, I'm looking to my right, like, what do you think? What's up with Philippe?
Why would you do that in a field? Don't just high five or shake hands or say good job.
Have we ever ran together in a field and kind of rolled around together, Jimmy?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we always walk slow when we're together. Right. It's almost gay to speed it up. It's actually called man on wire. Man on wire is the instinct to say it, but because that's what he was charged with.
Right, man on wire.
Yeah,
right.
Man on wire is what.
That's how they wrote it up back in the day. And Philippe Petit, it should be a good interview because he's very animated.
He's a weird guy. I guess you have to be. I don't know what we're you have to be kind of weird to want to do that and then to go through with it.
Right.
But if you're afraid of heights, I mean, the photos, because there was unfortunately no video of it.
There's one video from the street where you see this dot in between the buildings, literally a dot. But look, I'm looking at the photos again. It's called manonwire1word.com, and you can see some photos. And just looking at these photos, I'm just horrified all over again. The guy, when he finally got this tightrope set up, he went across back and forth, back and forth. He was up there on this wire for close to 2 hours. He lays down and starts looking at, quote, the heavens, and he saw a bird above him, and he's trying to get the bird to come down to his level. There's another shot where there's like a plane that looks like he could almost touch it because the plane is, they fly pretty low over Manhattan.
Yeah, it was probably a LaGuardia Airport plane, and it was above him.
Right.
And there's a shot taken. I don't know if it's from the ground, but it shows him, and it shows a plane above him. And, he's just laying there.
Yeah.
He laid down on the wire.
And then he sits down on the wire. And I'm thinking, all right, you sit down on the wire. How the hell do you get up without falling?
But he looked down. He said he wanted to see we're saying everything he's probably going to say, but he sat down on this thing, and there's a way to balance yourself. I think his foot was actually dangling down.
Yeah.
And his one foot, it's like picture yourself sitting on a rope, and your right foot is balanced on the rope, and then your left foot is kind of like hanging straight down at the bottom of the queue.
Right.
And he just stopped, and he looked to the ground.
Yeah, he leaned over to look, too.
Because he said it was a view he'd never have again. And he wanted to see it.
The detail that went into this, I mean, they got fake building IDs. They snuck. It turned out to be at least a half a ton of equipment they snuck into the Twin Towers. And then they had to get it up there, and then there were security guards, and they hid under a tarp for like hours and hours while this security guard was kind of in the area. They weren't sure if he was still in the room, so they stayed there for hours.
Yeah.
And then and then in the middle of the night, they're able to set up this tightrope. And how they did it, they shot an arrow. And this is all the stuff that's explained in the documentary and took a lot of training. But basically, they shot a bow and arrow with a fishing line from one tower to the other. That's crazy. And then on the end of the fishing line, then they had like a small piece of rope, basically. And they pulled that across. And then when they had the rope across, then they were able to get something a little heavier. And they pulled that across. And then finally, the actual tightrope wire, they were able to pull across.
Once they had a rope big enough under it.
Right.
And I'm so stupid all these years, because I always knew that they used a bow and arrow, because I heard that years ago. And I'm such a dope. I always assumed that they hooked up the tightrope wire and fired it across. It never occurred to me that you'd have to work your way up to it.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's kind of heavy. How did they actually fire that on an arrow?
Yeah, because I think they also said that at one point they dropped the wire or something, and it took hours and hours to pull it back up because that's how heavy it is.
What, did it fall off the building? You mean?
Something like that, I believe, yeah. If I was paying attention, yeah.
And they actually, there's so many, there's a photo right there.
He's just sitting on the edge of the Twin Towers, or one of the buildings.
On the top of the towers, there was always, it's like a giant rectangle, and on the top, it angled inward slightly, and I think Stunt Brain said that's where the rigging for the window washing was hooked up.
Sure.
And maybe that's a 10 or 12 foot angle going up, and he's just leaning back against it with literally his foot 6 inches from the edge of the building. And there's nothing for him to grab onto in front of him. Yeah. It's only him leaning back, which is preventing him from falling. Yeah, it's horrifying every time I think about this. And then finally, dawn hit, and he started his tightrope walking. Oh, I'm looking at that picture. I have my hands get sweaty when I like look at things like this.
Right.
And it's just there's certain photos that are really creepy because they give you a relative. You can see how far from the ground he really is. Why would you stand there?
Right.
I just want to say, why are you standing there?
Yeah.
Why don't you go inside like a nice person?
But he trained for years. He was kind of spying on the Twin Towers for a while. He would come to America and really, really study how people got in and out of the building. He was able to get upstairs, and he was on the roof by himself. He actually made believe he was a French reporter when the Twin Towers were opening, and he was able to interview all these people that gave him a lot of inside info. And then he goes back to somewhere in France, right? And then he sets up this whole field to mimic the Twin Towers, like the distance it would be and all this stuff. And then he was on the wire practicing. He had his friends with ropes, like moving the wire as hard as they can, and their whole job was to try to knock him off. He was only about, 15 feet off the ground, something like that. And they couldn't knock him off the wire. That's how good he was at doing this.
Well, yeah, in case of crosswinds. I mean, even if it's a nice day, there's still unpredictable things, especially at that height. I mean, we've all been on top of a tall building before.
Right.
And you're always kind of worried. And there's one photo in the, it was in the documentary. I don't know if it's in this book I have, but it was in the documentary where the wind can be so bad up there. He's holding on to a piece like a flagpole. He's in the middle of the roof.
Yeah.
And his legs are straight out. What's the word, the way a flag would be? It's not perpendicular, whatever the word would be. But he's being blown almost straight out like a flag.
Yeah.
Because at that height,
like a flag.
Yeah. Yes, he's being blown out like a flag because at that height the wind is so strong, or it can be so strong.
Yeah.
So that was one of the problems. They were worried about the wind, obviously.
And then there's another picture where he's kind of like, they're all like shirtless, and one of his buddies is in bed while he's doing sketches on the other side of the room. And once again, I'm thinking, wow, have I ever been in the same bedroom with Jimmy, topless, while he's in bed?
I will say,
like, I don't, and he had a long-term relationship that ended after he did the walk.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, she probably had enough. Right. Tight rope, and she's like, enough about the rope. We know the sky. We get it.
I think she got sick of looking the other way. God, he's getting another piggyback ride. Finally said, I'm done with this.
Years ago, I was working with Jay Moore in Florida, and he goes, come in, and he called me into his hotel room, and I walked in, and he's just on his bed naked, with his face in the pillow, and his hands behind him, let's just say, making a nice presentation. And I walk in, and it's like a cyclops just staring at me. So guys do weird homoerotic, funny things like that.
Well, that's the famous,
funny, yeah.
That's the famous thing we talk about from time to time, gay or funny.
Yeah.
Philippe Petit, there's nothing funny about, rolling around in a field with another guy.
Well, those were
or getting a piggyback ride.
Weren't those reenactments like, a lot of it's done in reenactments, I think, the older.
No, that's real footage from back in the day. That's the only video they got.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a young Philippe Petit.
Because I know that
positive.
They did use some actors to reenact certain moments.
Yeah.
I was hoping maybe that was a reenactment. Maybe he just said, be festive, run around the field. Yeah. That's what they did.
So then the other thing really fast, so then he's doing his walking across just saying it, across the Twin Towers. It's like 200 feet, 200 some odd feet. And then he was just toying with the police and stuff. Like he would get really close to them and he'd go, and then he would go back the other way. He started smiling. What did he do? Those French, they like to do a
bow?
Like a salute. He was saluting New York and everything. What is it called? When
I'm not sure.
A curtsy?
You take your hand like this, it's open, and you're just to the right.
It's like a gesture of,
But you're saluting like you're giving respect
like
to.
when you're trying to get one side of the stadium to yell, you go, over here.
Yeah.
It's like slowly backhanding a child. That's the best way I can think of it.
But I have to ask you a question. They were up all night. They were hauling all this equipment up. They didn't sleep.
Right.
And then he gets up at dawn. So it's like staying up all night.
Oh, I think
doing all kinds of labor, and then you walk across a wire for 2 hours?
Yeah, I think his adrenaline took over. I don't think he left I think at that point, they stayed there all night.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. We bitch about being tired on a Monday.
Right.
Oh,
I don't want to do radio today.
3 hours of sitting down. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, the things I found amazing about it, because I've been kind of looking at this off and on for many years, and Jimmy reintroduced me to this whole thing a few months ago, and what a coincidence that the movie came out, because we felt like we were talking about something that no one talks about anymore, but now people are talking again because of this new documentary. I really thought it was like just a bag with a rope in it, and that's it. When they said in this documentary that it was over a half ton of equipment, I'm like, how the F did they get that up there?
It's amazing. You'd never get even close to the building, close to an elevator today with any of that stuff.
But you know what, though? They had stuff. They had security back then, though. They even had building IDs and things they had to have duplicated.
Right.
And it's funny. I was just thinking. That's why we had that silence for a second there. Penn, when he was in, Penn Jillette actually said the day of that walk, one of his friends said, "Do you want to come down? There's a guy going to cross the towers today." He could have went and watched that live.
Wow.
And he didn't. He said he was new to New York, and I don't remember why he didn't. He was like,
Right.
I'm sure he regrets it, but he could have actually went down and seen that live.
The biggest shame of this whole thing is there's no freaking video.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised because some of his other things were videotaped. I'm surprised that he didn't think to get some kind of camera up there.
Yeah.
I know they were big and bulky back in '74, but, they have video of him, like, crossing, across Notre Dame.
Were those videos
or Notre
he
Dame.
took, though? Were those videos he took, or were those things that other people took of him? Because I wondered, too, if he had the cameras to do that, why didn't he just bring it up with him and set it up?
Right.
It's a stationary.
Because all you get is pictures, which is a shame. Could you imagine seeing video of this? I would pass out.
It was probably like everybody thought that somebody else brought the video camera.
Yeah.
And they all looked at each other and go, "Oh, we don't have anything. All right, you got a camera?"
Yeah.
Took a few stupid pictures. Although the pictures are good, and the way the documentary is done, I mean, there's enough photos in it and enough of him talking. It keeps you interested.
Well, he's very animated. He makes it.
Yeah.
He really makes the documentary because he's good with words. The other thing, really fast too. This was a downhill, like the rope was on an incline or decline, depending on which way you're going.
Well, one of the buildings is a little higher than the other.
Right. So it's not even. It wasn't even like an even. The rope wasn't even. He had to go down and then up. Slightly.
We've talked about this on the show where the greatest fear, it's like I would always think, hey, is that an actual photo of his foot, E-Rock?
No, it's an artist.
Okay. Could you show that again? Because we're looking at black and white photos, and there's an artist rendition of what his foot, like...
Get the F out of here.
What his foot looks like from his point of view, like if you look down and saw the foot.
The F out of here.
Like the building, like the ground below you, if you look down at your own feet. And what would happen if you were in the middle of the wire, and all of a sudden you just realize, like, I don't know how to tightrope walk. And you just stuck. Like all of a sudden you came out of the haze and you were in the middle of the wire.
Right.
It's like, is there a way to kind of just get down and grab it? Because even the guy, one of the Walendas, the Carl Walenda, couldn't grab the rope when the wind started up.
Well, the problem was he got too old.
Yeah, he's in his 70s.
That's what scares me about Philippe Petit, because then he's got to be, maybe we can look up his age. He's got to be 60 by now.
I don't know. No, he might. Yeah, that was what, 28?
34 years ago, Jimmy.
94.
He's got to be close to 60,
wow,
if not. And he's still doing some tight roping. And I'm thinking now his skills are diminished, just kind of like, just imagine like old golfers, old major league pitchers. He doesn't have the skills like he had when he was in his 20s or 30s, but the mind is still there. And I have a feeling that he's going to do something stupid and he's going to fall to his death.
Well, he does a lot of benefits now. Like he does stuff in like Washington Square Park where he'll like, just
5-6 feet off the ground.
Yeah, little cute things.
Might break an arm if he falls.
Yeah, perhaps spill his drink. I mean, that's crap that I would do.
But I think he's the type of guy that I think he really wants to do one more biggie. I really think that he wants to do something.
But what is there to walk between? Like
after that, I don't know. That's just crazy.
Yeah, how do you follow that? Just like, let it go. He has, too. He's pretty much kept his mouth shut for 34 years.
Right. He's 59, so.
Now he's doing a documentary. It's like, it sucks because 9/11 happened for a lot of reasons. But, I mean, unfortunately, it wasn't before then. And why wait so many years? Like, why not just do this in 1980?
I don't know.
Why are you doing this documentary so many years later?
Well, we'll find out. He's going to be here in a few minutes.
Let's just scream at him when he comes in
right.
for trespassing.
Yeah, let's just scream at him. Are you gay? Why the piggybacks?
It's funny as you.
Why the frolicking in the fields? And now we say good morning to Philippe Petit on our couch. I can't believe you're actually sitting here. We're huge fans of yours, sir.
We've been talking about. Just pull the mic a little closer. We've been talking about you for a long time. Even before the documentary, we were always talking about you because there's another guy, Alain Robert, who you probably know. He climbs buildings.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, he's a sissy. He doesn't have.
Yeah.
He doesn't use a wire. He just climbs the buildings, which is pretty easy.
I think he knows him, but he doesn't want to acknowledge him.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
No,
I like that.
Yeah, glorified window washer.
I think what you did was hard. Everybody knows you. You walked on a tightrope in between the Twin Towers.
Yeah, I don't try to do things that are harder. I'm interested in beautiful theater in the sky.
All right. That's
Yeah, I've never heard it put that way before.
yeah. That is that. Well, the book I have. My ex-girlfriend who did eventually leave me. Got me your book for Christmas last year because I've been kind of obsessed with you for a long time.
She's got good taste.
Yeah, she really does. She left me for a gentleman of color. Yeah.
In books, I meant.
And it's just this.
Still a fan, Jimmy?
Yeah, of course I am.
Yeah.
And I knew he'd be an interesting interview because you do have a very poetic, odd way of looking at the world. You're not a typical guy.
I couldn't be.
Not to do that, I suppose not. Was there ever a moment, because my greatest fear is heights, and Nick was talking about the terror of heights, where you're in the middle of walking across in between these buildings, and you just thought, what am I doing here?
No, I had been thinking of being between those towers for many, many years, even before they were built. So when I found myself there, it was by choice, not by chance. And I loved it.
You had no fear of falling? I mean, even as a guy who knows...
It's very logic, my answer, and it's not a pun. It's reality. I had no fear of falling because I could not fall. If not, I would be fearful, of course, and I will run away in fear. But because I cannot fall, because I put myself in a state of psychological and tangible certitude, solidity, I can enter in this fragile world with knowing I will do the final step victoriously.
So what are you thinking as you're walking across? I mean, there's one part where I think you said you focused on the other building on a piece of metal. Is that what you actually looked at?
Yeah. One nice way when you're on a tightrope, try it one day, and believe me, it's the right way. Look at where the wire is tied on the other side. It's a bit like the horizon on a long walk. And that makes you feel like you're part of a rigid system. But in these walks, as you know, I walk many times, 8 times. My friends told me I didn't have a machine to measure my walks, but I stayed there like almost 45 minutes. And during that time, I actually looked down, looked around.
You sat down on the wire.
Yes, I sat down.
You laid down on the wire.
Yeah.
And how high up were the Twin Towers? Like a quarter mile?
Just a quarter of a mile.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Quarter mile in the air.
That would knock the wind out of you.
Well,
Yeah,
they
no
were the
kidding.
highest towers in the world at the time.
Sure.
This photo here, this is to me, I mean, they're all horrifying photos, but this one, I'll show Nick, is Philippe. He's in between the towers, and he is, you could be lounging on a hammock somewhere.
So let me correct you. There's nothing horrifying about this picture. It's glorifying about the Twin Towers, and it's magnificent about seeing a man becoming half a bird.
Yeah.
So
it's glorifying to you, horrifying for every single human being out there.
Philippe, how do you explain that you don't have a fear of heights, but somebody like me or Jimmy, is that genetics? What?
No. I was not born as a wire walker. I actually fought for it because I was not born in the circus world. And my parents and the teachers and the whole powers that be around me as a teenager said no. And my intuition was yes. So I became a natural climber. At 6 years old, I climbed everywhere, played with ropes like little kids do. And I found myself at 16, 17 learning by myself, which is very unusual, the art of wire walking. So I have no fear because I loved it all along. You see, if I force you to get on a wire, you're going to resist and say, oh, I'm scared. But if you live from your childhood climbing everywhere, it's very natural that you're going to become a wire walker.
Carl Wallenda fell to his death. I mean, obviously a very accomplished guy on the wire. That was after I think you did this, or was that before you did that when he fell?
After.
It was after. Okay, so you didn't have that. Would seeing that have kind of slowed you down at all, or it wouldn't have stopped you?
No, but it's always a good lesson. I was actually invited to perform where he did, and I went to Puerto Rico and I studied the wind, and I say I'm not interested in his assignment.
What was the mistake he made that day? Just not reading the conditions?
I refuse to talk about how people could have felt if they're not in front of me to refute me. But as a wire walker, I know that I will never do a walk when I weigh all the odds. And for example, if I'm proposed a place to walk where it's very windy, I will study the wind and I might say no, which I said in this specific.
All right, going with that. So the day you decided to walk between the Twin Towers, if it was windy up there, you weren't going to go?
No, it was windy, and by nature, it was there was turbulence there, which is like mad wind that you cannot control. And I knew that from my homework and for dozens and hundreds of visits sneaking up while the towers were being built or finished almost. So I don't know. I don't believe in gods, but I think the gods believe in me.
Sure. So you visited the towers dozens of times before this?
No, hundreds of times.
Hundreds of times.
I was in New York 8 months street juggling to survive, passing my hat in.
So you were street juggling, and then you were sneaking into the towers when you could.
Well, I had to disguise myself as an architect or a worker or
reporter,
a reporter, yeah. And then I sneak in a building thousands of times. Have friends taking pictures, measuring things, daydreaming. It's important to daydream when you're building a dream.
You're meticulous, because that's what I took away from the documentary. This wasn't like a whim. You really studied the towers, and you really prepared. You went back to your hometown, and you even, when you were practicing, the conditions that you thought would be happening that day, you even had your friends shaking the wire to try to knock you down.
Absolutely, and we have a wonderful, true footage of that was shot at the time. So this film is marvelous because it's a modern telling, and at the same time going back 34 years and showing amazing footage that survived, all those dozens of years.
Now, there's video of you doing some other tightrope walks. Why didn't you get the Twin Towers thing filmed? Why didn't you have a buddy up there?
I had my friend who shot the arrow with the bow.
Yep.
He was a photographer, so we took pictures, but we had rented a 16mm camera, and I said, take a few pictures, but run to the camera and press the red button. I want a live footage. And he was about to do that when the police came to his roof, so he has to hide, and he went down, and his pictures ended up all over the world in the front page, but no film, which at the time I was really, really upset, and now I think it adds to the legend.
Yeah.
I mean, the towers are even no longer there. It looks like, did I dream all this? Am I inventing all this?
I'm sure you've given that guy a scolding over the years, though.
Well,
why are you hiding? You should have got arrested for me, so we have some video of this.
No, but then the pictures would have been confiscated, and the world.
Oh, so they would have taken right.
Oh yeah. No, it was a caper story.
Now,
no,
Jimmy, you got it.
So you actually looked down at one point, and there's a photo of you, I guess, balancing yourself, where you kind of go down onto the wire and your leg is hanging down, and you said you took a look down because you'd never see that view.
Yes, I do that actually not in the middle of a performance, but sometimes, yes, I stop performing and I do a little thing for my own pleasure, and it is often to sit on the wire, let's say on a very long and high wire, and then to look around and look down. And it's amazing because it's a view that it is true I will never have again. Each walk is very different, and at the top of the world, 1,350 feet in the air.
Right.
I had to look around, and I recorded magnificent images.
Yeah, nobody will have that view. You're the only one.
No, nobody did, and nobody will.
Nobody will. Now, we were talking about this whole thing earlier this morning. We really thought it was like a wire in a bag. You throw the wire to the other side, no big deal. I learned through the documentary it was something like a half-ton of equipment.
No, almost a ton.
Almost a ton of equipment. You had to sneak into the Twin Towers.
Yeah, divided in two crews. The North crew with the little equipment, the bow and arrow, and the South crew, me and a friend. A few accomplices that I fired a few hours before to sneak in the building because they were incapable. So we were not enough people on my tower, and we had almost a ton of equipment.
Right. And you had to sneak in through the freight elevators and this and that. And you had fake badges.
So you got to be a good criminal too.
Well, I am. I was born a criminal. I mean, an artistic criminal. So I can go to school and talk to students and tell them, go on and pursue your dreams. There's nothing illegal about that. Although maybe there is these days.
And the biggest thing, you had to figure out how to get the wire from one building to the other, and you finally decided on the arrow.
No, I didn't decide. It's my friend.
Your friend came
up, and I thought that was a ridiculous idea. Don't bother me with the ball.
Well, how were you going to do it if you didn't have your
practice?
Wait, before you say that, how did you think you were going to get the wire across?
This is ridiculous. It's in my book. I share with the reader all the ways. One of the ways was I was thinking of a little radio-guided helicopter with a fishing line. But those things, first you need 3 years to master them, okay? I went to a specialized shop and the guy says, forget it. Plus, he made a demo for me and it makes so much ruckus. The whole lower Manhattan would have woken up, So, but the bow and arrow was beautiful and it worked. Except I was thinking, what if the arrow pierced my heart, and in the morning the cops are really puzzled. They see a dead Frenchman with an arrow in his heart, and they say, what's going on? But it didn't happen.
Yeah, and then you decide on the arrow with the fishing line, and then in the middle of the night, you finally, your buddy, right? He shot the arrow across.
Tower, he shot across, and then we pulled out. As you
you're skipping a step, and I have to give this away because I found it a little strange.
It's very dangerous for me to skip steps.
I understand, but you weren't sure if the arrow made it to your side with the fishing line, so very strange. You decide you needed to get completely naked to.
Yeah, but you're telling about the film. Don't
a
say
little
those
bit.
things.
That's not going to give everything away.
Yeah, it is true because imagine this is a comic movie in itself. You're in the middle of the night, totally dark, and you're looking for an invisible nylon fishing line. I mean. So I thought after a few attempts, I thought he missed. Maybe the arrow is in New Jersey, you know. So I took my clothes off and and I looked, and then I could feel on my legs a little caress of a fishing line. It was the most beautiful caress I ever had on those legs for years. No, it's not true.
And well then you then you attach something else to the fishing line, and you slowly get up to
a heavier cord and then a rope, and then when it was strong enough, that rope, a thick rope, could actually pull a very heavy steel cable across, and we had all kind of trouble, and the police came. But anyway, read the book and see the film.
Yeah, we will.
This is nothing you say is going to cause people to not want to see this film because I mean, first of all, everybody knows you live, so it's not like, well, does he die at the end? So it's how did he do it?
It's not like the Bible.
Hold on. What is fabulous about this film is that there is a suspense, and even I'm supposed to be the guy. I'm supposed to know I made it. Well, I am on the edge of my seat when I am in a dark theater full of people. I am laughing and crying and applauding with them, and I want to know the outcome. Is he going to make it? So it's a good film.
It's a great film, actually. You're so animated, and you really make it by how you're describing everything. And yes,
I was also interested in all the people around you that are interviewed in this, and all the people that helped you with this, that are in this film, that talk about what they were feeling and how they didn't think you. It's a very interesting group of people that all talk about what went into making this happen, because everybody just obviously thinks of you instead of realizing that there were friends, and then there was a girlfriend, and there was all this stuff that went on behind the scenes.
The girlfriend and all the stuff, yes.
Yeah.
Why did he get naked again? I don't understand that.
Just to feel the fishing line. A little strange, yes. I'm with you on that, Nick.
Yeah.
How about a
You
flashlight?
sort of glossed over that. So I got naked on the
How about a flashlight? Look around a little bit.
What is that on my balls?
Are you going to do any more walking?
Yes.
To that extent? I know you still perform and all that, but I mean, are you thinking of another?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Obviously, nothing as huge as the Twin Towers.
Well, I have small, medium, and giant walks. I'm not trying to collect the gigantic, but it looks, when I look back at my life, I have done big things. But I have many projects. One of them is quite mysterious. It's to attach my rope or my wire to the belly of those big statues in Easter Island. The Moai, they are sacred statues. And that will be like a very mysterious, out of the world walk. So things like that interest me, and they almost look like they have their room in a movie rather than in real life. But I continue to perform. I continue to write books. I'm writing my 7th book right now.
Wow.
And I continue. I also lecture on creativity, go to people and tell them how I work by myself. I discover juggling, magic. It's a life that is a life of passion. And as long as life continues, I will continue to exercise those passions.
Do you think your skills have diminished now that you're older?
No. I think I'm not older. I'm much younger. I am more knowledgeable, more masterful. I think my skills, yes, physically the body is saying, leave me alone, I'm getting old. But I disregard that. I think it's the mind that pulls the body. You had a guest before who is racing around the world, and his legs are new legs. So I salute that. My hat off.
Can you get him on a wire, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that would be
absolutely.
Scott, what do you think?
Hey, well, maybe that's the next challenge.
This man has undoubted spirits, and you can do anything. That's basically what this film, Man on Wire, is telling, is that if you have a dream, stick to it, and nothing is impossible. So yes, I continue to walk the high wire, absolutely.
I had a question for him.
Sure, Scott Rigsby, yes.
Yeah. Hey, mentally prepper. I mean, when I did the Iron Man, it was more mentally draining than physically draining. So I had to prepare myself mentally. So over and over, I dreamed about crossing that finish line. I dreamed about every portion of the race, the swim, the bike, and the run. Did you do that when you're preparing for these?
Absolutely. Well, the chemistry of the victory that you just outlined is exactly the one I believe in, except I am not formulating it so clearly as you just did, and I'm not living through it so exactly, but it's intuitively. I know if I look at how I prepare for a high wire walk for the past 45 years, it's exactly what you said. It's much more in the head. And, if the body is asleep, you wake it up and you pull it by the sleeve. I mean, the body is an instrument.
Sure.
So that's why I'm not really interested in those climbers and those stuntsmen who do, impossible things. It doesn't move me, because where is the human theater? Where is the soul? The mechanical work of a human body doesn't interest me. You have to inspire me. You have to move me. You have to be a poet, and that cannot be explained.
No.
Could someone climbing, though, have the same... Could someone who climbs buildings, I mean, it's amazing to me that the guy does it without equipment. Could he have that same spirit that you have? He's just not a tightrope walker.
Well, but it will look differently than just climbing and stopping.
Yeah, he's calling it.
And climbing.
He basically
Somebody will make an opera vertical on a facade and turn around and do a kind of ballet, and you call it theater in the sky. I will be the first one moved by it. But when I see a human being getting higher or longer than the other guy, and do climbing 9 peaks within 8 hours to be in a book of records, I think these people don't understand life. Life is not to be the highest, the strongest, and the newest. Life is to be meaningful and to inspire people and to do something beautiful. So really, and since I was not born in the world of the circus, from the beginning I took the wire as a stage. What interested me was theater. Of course, my stage is kind of thin, and I'm not allowed to make one mistake because I won't be here to talk about it. But that's the beauty of my theater. It's a theater where you have to put your life entirely, not gamble it, but carry it across in full focus.
Jimmy basically saying they're hacks, and all they're doing is climbing a really, really tall ladder.
Philippe, can I ask, you said you've been doing this 40 years?
No, much more.
Can I ask how old you are?
Yeah, I'm kind of 60 or something like that.
Getting close to the big 60.
But, I have disregard. I know teenagers that are already dead, and I know 95 years old people who are my best young friends.
Right. Hey,
You don't look like 60.
You've never answered the question why.
Oh, yes, I did answer. I said there is no why.
Yeah, but that's how you answered it, I guess. Sure.
I think also it's a...
Because that's the obvious question everyone would want to ask you. Why would you, walk between the towers?
A real painter, if you interrupt the painter who should be painting all day long by such a foolish question, why? The real artist painter will not know why, or the answer will be, well, I have no choice. I wake up and I have to paint. If you think and if you realize why, it's something else. So I always had this kind of passionate calling. I mean, I didn't decide to put a wire between the Twin Towers. The Twin Towers called me. I was a young, self-proclaimed, self-taught wire walker. I wanted to use the wire as a stage, how absurd, how poetic. And then I was looking for great places. And then I see 6 years before they were built, I see an announcement that one day those towers will be built. And right there, as an 18-years-old imbecile...
Giving away the movie. You're giving away your own movie there, Philippe.
I'm following your example from the beginning. But anyway, you're right. This movie can be seen even if you know what the subject is.
Now, what are you scared of?
Well, I'm scared of things crawling on the floor with too many legs or with not enough legs, like snakes and spiders. I'm not very comfortable. But that's stupid. It's because I didn't put my mind into studying them, you see.
Well, how about we put a few of those on the wire and we get a little... we'll make it a little more interesting for you.
What if I am across the Grand Canyon and I see a tarantula coming? Well, I'll have to think about that.
You ever
bucket of snakes?
You ever thought about doing the Grand Canyon?
Yes, yeah. I had a big project there, and it's still semi-alive, but I need an art angel to sign a check. It's always the same. I'm not the only artist who needs the motor to his to his dreams.
Gotcha. What's it called? Obviously the
balancing pole.
The balancing pole.
Now put your hands facing the sky like this. Yeah.
How people on radio don't know. How long actually is that?
Well, it depends of the walk, and it depends of the wind I'm going to meet up there, and it depends of the tension of the wire and what I'm going to do on that wire. So it's a dancing parameters. But at the World Trade Center, it was enormously heavy. It was 40 pounds, and it was 28 feet long, because I knew I would have to be fighting turbulence, and I knew at that height I will be so fragile. I needed my arms to be longer and heavier. I mean, this is not a trick, the balancing pole. If you don't know how to maneuver it, it's going to make you fall off the wire left or right. But once you know how to move it around, it helps you a little bit stay on that wire.
If you were to drop that, if for whatever reason you were to drop it, would you have been able to make it to the edge of the wire?
I'm really not a good guy to answer the if questions. I always frown at, if you were a tree, what tree would you be? Well, I'll be a solid oak. But anyway, so there is no if for me. But if, I know there is no if, because I cannot put myself in the mind of what if. You see, I narrow all the unknown. into a moment where I am certain nothing will happen to me. So I cannot entertain the idea, if I drop my pole, I cannot drop my balancing pole. I cannot be allowed to drop it,
But don't you have a process of elimination you go through where you have to go through the worst case scenarios to prepare you to deal with them?
No, it's
positive.
not that.
You do positive creative visualization.
No. Well, it's half and half,
right?
because when I train, I think of Murphy is the worst scenario. I think a big
Irish
wind,
guy.
or I think something breaking in the wire. But because I am the engineer for my project and I direct my rigging crew and I practice, sometimes even with the right direction of the wind for months before a big walk, then as you can imagine, if you were following me for months before a walk, you would not say this guy is crazy. You would say this guy is crazy about details and about respecting his life and the life of the buildings, and he doesn't leave anything to chance. And what is Murphy is a thief that used chance to bother you. So I cannot be attacked there. There is no if for me.
But didn't you, when you're going through something like, aren't you going through, like when you're checking the building out and you're going through so many steps to make sure that it was going to work, you are in a way looking at, well, if security is here, or if this guy is here, or if this doesn't work, this is how I get around that.
Okay, in the case of the World Trade Center adventure, it was illegal, as you know, and there was a lot of question mark. What if in the middle of my walk, some guard comes and start banging on the cable? Or, that would be the if that there was nothing I could do. But it's not true, because I was looking constantly on both sides. I did U-turns and I walked back and forth, and I was really looking at any human being approaching the anchor points. And if they would have approached the anchor point, I would probably stop walking, sit on the wire, hold myself with one hand. All this, in a way, is answering your question of if, but it's just that
would be
it's my
insane
knowledge of the wire that saves me and my knowledge of myself.
Right.
If I thought I was invincible, I would already be dead. You see, there is a certain humbleness in being the best at what you do.
Jimmy, we got to take a break.
Okay.
Man on Wire is the documentary. Where can people see that? Is it in theaters?
It's got a limited release. I know we have it. I don't even know if we have the list. Where it is. I know you can go to Man on Wire. There's no the. It's tempting to say the, but it's not. manonwire.com. And I'm sure that will give certain dates as to where you can see it.
It's opening within hours in New York City, so it's going to take New York by storm. And I know the New Yorkers, it's going to be their film, because it were their towers. And
Who needs to see Dark Knight when you can see Man on Wire?
Yes.
It
there is a big difference.
It is a very interesting
Taliban's gonna go see it.
documentary. It's a very interesting thing. It really gets you inside of Philippe's headspace and what was going on, and it really was a very fascinating thing to watch. And I knew a lot about you just because I read the book, and I'd watched a lot of stuff on you over the years, and I still found myself really interested in watching this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure, Philippe.
Thank you very much.
Philippe Petit. We're going to wrap up next. Stay there. What do you think of Philippe Petit there?
He's
Your
an interesting
hero.
guy. He's an odd guy. He's an artist. He gives artistic answers. But he's just a very interesting dude. Look, here's the bottom line. The guy did what he did.
Yeah.
It's an amazing feat. I don't agree with him when he says, like, the pictures aren't horrifying. To us, they are, because we can't do that.
Of course they're horrifying.
He's a mime on a wire.
Yeah.
But,
and he's romanticizing the whole thing. I'm sure he beats the crap out of that guy that didn't turn on the damn video camera.
Yeah.
He came up with a good answer. How cool it is that you don't have video of one of the greatest things to ever happen in New York.
It's called rationalization.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's beating the crap out of the guy.
He looks great for his age, though.
He's going to be 60, and he's going to plummet to his death. And I was ready to tell him that, but then I felt maybe I shouldn't.
He looks like he's 40, though. It
but
was freakish, man.
As soon as you start thinking that your mind can still get things done, that's when you're in trouble.
True.
Because he said, "No, man, I'm older and I'm more experienced and I got more knowledge." And then the whole time I'm thinking, "Wow, we're going to read about this guy in the
What do
next
you
few
think
years."
Walenda said?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? He wasn't going, I can't do it anymore physically.
well, Walenda's things, Walenda probably, hopefully, Philippe seems like he's smarter than because Walenda's things weren't tied off right, and I think that's why he had so much wobble. And the documentary is interesting, man. It was a really interesting thing to watch.
Yeah, I'm
all
definitely going to check it out.
crap that they had to go through and navigate, and all these weird little blockades to get by to pull this off.
Yeah, you got to be. He had to have like a good criminal mind to pull off that.
Yeah, he was a big fan of.
I knew nothing about it. I thought he had permission and stuff.
Oh yeah. It's kind of a tough one to get them to sign
He had
off
an
on.
inside guy. He met this guy who was an inside guy that got him building IDs. It was just
Very involved.
very, very involved. It took years and years of planning.
That's positive thinking. I don't believe.
Well, these guys that climb the buildings literally do. They can study it by themselves, but they could probably pull that off by themselves, because all you got to do is study what you have to study, then go up. But to have a whole other two teams and both people to have to sneak by and get up and
shoot an arrow across, just that alone.
Amazing.
It's like, really?
Yeah, exactly.
If I suggested that, I'd be like, what do you get out of here?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
And I would root for it not to make it, so I didn't have to do it.
What I don't understand, and it was probably too technical to really get into. Maybe so you got the main wire, and then he had two other wires to kind of anchor it down to keep it, a little stiffer.
Yeah.
How did he get those wires across the main wire and then anchored down where they were anchored down? I don't get that.
I don't remember the answer, but they do give it. They do give, because that's a very critical thing. Like you see a wire, and I forget what they're called, but they almost come. It looks like a kite almost from the point on the wire that they tied to the building or structure.
Right.
So there is a way that they did it, and it was done for this walk, and I forget how they did it.
But how do they attach those two other wires?
Yeah,
to
did
the
they
main
drill?
wire?
Do they have to drill holes? Or,
Maybe it was all attached to begin with.
You don't just
know.
tie it off.
Yeah.
It's
It's
I
a
don't know.
technical thing.
There's
then.
obviously a knot they tie. It's obviously metal, but maybe there's a little clamp or something they put on a wire. But you could see them. You see photos of him walking. You can see like little.
I'm kind of bummed. I wanted to ask him how it was working with Omar. I can't believe we didn't ask that question.
Who?
Omar, man on wire. He was on the.
There was something sweet about
Well,
that.
it says man on wire. It's one of our favorite. Yeah,
I just didn't get it.
I know. I was trying. E to the rock.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think of the show so far? What's your thoughts on Philippe Petit?
A little weird after the interview because he said he would do IDs, and then we get in the hallway and he goes, no, I can't do this, and he freaked out. And Roland
Did he like his time with us? Where's Roland?
I couldn't
The
tell.
stool was too high.
He seemed cool, and then as soon as he got in the hallway, he kind of freaked out. And
He's a strange bird.
He's a French goo gobbler. Let's be honest. Fucking people go, by the way, to watch people fall off the fucking wires.
Of course.
Okay? Nobody.
No one cares about the artistic merits
If that
of
doesn't-
wire
Yeah,
walking.
if it
They're
ha-
there to see a brain get squashed.
Nobody looks at them and goes, ooh,
Roland-
artiste.
Hold on, let me.
Mike?
Yeah, what?
Well, you say you guys pronounced his name wrong. He went, did he pronounce my name wrong?
Why did he correct me then? How was his name pronounced?
Phil Pettit.
Yeah, I was going to
Fucking
call it
cocksucker.
Philip Pettit, right?
No, but he said, he goes, I didn't want to correct him in the middle of the interview.
Well, how do you say his
name?
dumb name?
Phil Pettit.
I know, I guess Philippe Petit.
That's what I said.
What the fuck we saying wrong?
Philippe Petit.
Why
That's
is he,
what I thought.
why
Put
is he
the
harping
accent on my cock.
Why doesn't he stop? Does
I
he
know.
really want us to trash him tomorrow? We were so nice to him. What the fuck does he want?
No, that was it. And then I guess he's French. That's what they
He's
do.
a glorified
they
mime.
do. Why wouldn't they fucking? Why wouldn't he do IDs for us?
I know, because he goes, I am late.
Oh, he's late. Okay.
Yeah. And then you're just right down the
Yeah.
hallway.
Let's ask his
But-
politics.
All right. Did he have a good time?
He did have a good time. He loved the interview.
He's a little weird, isn't he, Roland?
Yes.
He's flaky as a croissant.
What do you think his
Am I
deal
saying
is?
that right?
I don't know.
Goddamn fucking Leno's leaving.
I know.
All right. Thank you. You added a lot there, Roland. I appreciate it.
I can't believe he's 60, though.
Good old Philippe.
Yeah, they said my name wrong.
Yeah, we were disappointed with Philippe. He's a hero to us, and now it's like, ugh,
He's just a fucking guy who walked on a wire. Fuck him.
The French are very difficult.
he's an artistic fruit.
Exactly. I am an artist, yeah? Well, then fucking paint a bowl of fruit and stay off the fucking...
He brought up juggling, too. What's the obsession with fucking French people and juggling?
Yeah, they like it.
Put him on a fucking unicycle, paint his face.
I'm an
send him-
artist. Are you?
Exactly. I don't
you
see your
really?
shit in the Louvre.
Yeah, he's an artist, and now he's juggling. Yeah.
They're gonna
Fucking,
hang a
they go
fucking-
hand in hand.
They're gonna hang a wire in a fucking museum? No.
And stop being so cool and answer the
Juggling.
question. Why did you do it?
Yes, this is a stupid question. No, it's not. It's a stupid thing to walk across the fucking wire between two buildings. That's why there's sidewalks.
I love how we turn up people because we just.
I am what I do. Well, it's all
Right.
horseshit.
What was his answer to why?
I don't know.
I forgot.
People are throwing things at me, calling me queer.
At least he
It's
didn't
like
say
you should-
why not.
Nobody
shouldn't
liked me
ask
at
why.
street level.
Yeah.
His answer was, "You shouldn't ask why."
You shouldn't.
Yeah,
ask
you know
why.
what? You're right. We shouldn't have had you in here, fuckface.
Yeah, it's called an interview. What are we supposed to ask
You
you?
fucking go get your easel and your fucking beret, you cunt.
Go get a croissant.
I'm not just meeting you
Leave
at
us alone,
Starbucks.
stupid. Right.
I got your shitty book, which me and my girlfriend laughed at.
I know you were fucking like saying what a big fan you were, and he was getting more fucking flip with you.
Believe me, I just
Because
wanted...
it's cool not to have fans or a purpose or any of that
Is
shit.
that what that? Is that
Shut the
cool?
fuck
Really?
up.
If I wish I knew that's what he thought.
He did it for exposure.
Here,
course
Carl
he
Willenda
did.
fell. Fuck him. You're next.
Yeah. He could have typed.
Jimmy has his books in his book.
Oh, it couldn't have been nicer. Fucking
Cut
fruit.
to Jimmy wiping his ass with his DVD.
But the book was terribly written, the documentary. Ugh. They had to hide for a couple. He thinks I'm blowing the big secret. Hey, stupid. You fuck, this is not the Dark Knight. Everybody knows you're here. You're talking to
No
us. You
shit.
live.
It's about as surprising as the ending to the Bible. Fucking.
Yeah. What do you think happens? Did you almost fall off on your cock helmet and caught the wire?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You walked, you waved, and now you're here boring everybody to tears.
Fucking landed in a fountain.
Exactly. Why don't you fucking eat a croissant and then throw yourself off a building?
Yeah,
What have you
exactly.
done lately? That was 1974.
Exactly.
Yeah, no shit. A little sabbatical in between jumps there, fuckface.
How about you start walking again?
I would love if he. I would
Mr.
love.
Artist.
I would love once he retires that he falls off his roof fixing something. Fucking paralyzed. How funny would that be? He slips in his tub. Now he's shitting into a bag in his hip.
That fucking
Not such an artist now, are you? There, fucking empty that piss bag, douche.
that cunt. He corrected me on everything. I'm like, this is a horrifying picture. Well, this is not horrifying. Really? Then why don't you live up there? You fuck. Why don't you live on the wire?
Let me see that fucking French.
It is an amazing photo, though.
Yeah.
That's a great photo.
Is he laying down?
Yes, that's what I was trying to show you before. I
What
said
the
it's a horrifying
fuck?
photo.
Nice time to take a nap.
And
That's not horrifying, really. Then why aren't hotels doing it? Of course it's horrifying.
how the fuck do you say his name if it's not Philippe Petit?
Exactly. Hey, you. Hey, asshole that walked in between two buildings.
There's probably some little French thing you got to do that we're not doing.
Yeah.
I like
properly.
how we question if somebody really walked on the moon. That might have been fake, but I have to fucking take for granted this is for real. This is fucking. He could have fucking photoshopped this yesterday. Fucking asshole.
Yeah, where's the video?
Exactly. We talked shit 2 hours later.
He goes, yeah, the Twin Towers called me. Yeah, they called Bin Laden too. Fuckhead. Obama at Jordan Marsh. What?
Do you think he twinkle toes his way from room to room when his girlfriend is sleeping?
He enters the room backwards with his ass out.
Moonwalking.
His quote long-term girlfriend is sound asleep, and Mr. Twinkle Toes is going to the other side of the house.
I like that Phil Pettit.
Exactly.
Fucking
Every fucking thing he called out. It didn't hit me at the time.
I know.
So car will end. If I would never question a wire walker. He fucking fell.
You wouldn't question the wind?
yeah. I mean, there's not much to figure out there. It's
He really
windy.
was a snippy motherfucker. I wish I would have been as annoyed then as I am now. I swear to God, it didn't hit
You were
me.
starting to get there. I was hoping it would really blow up in
Yeah,
his face.
but if I don't ask if, you do ask if. That's why you fucking took a year. Otherwise, you would have walked up with a string and thrown it.
In other words, we shouldn't give a fuck at all about this, is what you're telling us. So why are you making a movie about it, Dink?
Exactly. Write a poem.
You motherfucker!
I told Jimmy on the walkover I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't go after him a little bit because I was feeling it big time. I was so feeling it.
Well, it wasn't
And I
my
didn't- I
place to
didn't
do
it.
so.
I didn't do it, but oh well.
Neither did I. Before you get me at 11 a.m. and I'm tough.
He's long gone, and now we have the balls. Guy couldn't have been more than 5'6".
Hey,
The guy's
artist,
name
how
is
old are ya?
Petite, and we didn't want to pick on him.
Right.
Hey, and he didn't want to answer the age question. Hey, fucking mister, it's all about art. How old are you? If you have friends that are 90 years young, how about you? How young are you? Right. How old's your prostate?
And I know teenagers
Yeah.
that died. Great.
Big
Answer
deal.
the fucking question. When are you going to be blowing out the candles next?
Yeah.
How many are there going to be on the cake?
When they find a lump on your left nut, are you going to fucking imagine that away too? With
Right.
your great fucking positive thinking? What's on?
Big
Anyways,
We will be reading about him in the future. I'm going to give it 2-3 years tops.
yeah, again,
He's going to need a little more attention, and he's going to do the wrong thing.
he is.
Yeah.
Again.
All right, let's do another runner-up line of the fucking day.
We also got the sign, a 500-pound bomb from one of those drones.
Ralphie May was there? Couldn't get that one out fast enough.
I was going with the Voss joke myself, but you beat me to it. I didn't know they shipped Voss's act over to Afghanistan.
That would have just been mean-spirited.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
he's not 500 pounds.
I'm Philippe Petit.
Yes, you are, Philly.
Are you?
Exactly. Answer the fucking question.
Right.
Don't try to call us out because we're not asking you right.
Then ask
I'll
her.
help you land on a wrought iron fence next time.
Right.
Goes right through you
Right
like
through
a
your-
fucking...
Right through your asshole. fucking Philippe Petit. And then I'm giving away the movie, he says. And then he turns around and gives away his own fucking movie. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, land.
Holy shit. Now I wish I could give away more of the movie. Where are we up to?
If I didn't hate it, I would.
Huh?
I blocked it out like a childhood rape. Get the video camera running, you asshole.
Yeah, it's really cool that there's no videotape of it. What the fuck are you thinking?
It's not cool.
Right.
Sucks a dick.
Tropical storm Dolly.
Yeah, Dolly's going to be maybe a 1.
Is that what it's going to be?
Yeah. What is it called
Well,
again?
that's all it takes of those houses down there.
It's a 1. Yeah, category 1. Thank you. Sure.
Fucking made of mud and balsa wood. Huh.
Yeah. Fucking let's.
Bowl of chili would take the roof off.
Anything else on Philippe Petit?
What else is there to say? I didn't realize. I didn't add it all up until as we're talking. I wish
noticed.
I had.
We were so excited.
Well, that's what's
too.
funny. You were the biggest fan. You knew. You took the time to research it. You fucking knew everything about it. And
I watched
he was
that
getting snippy with you.
He didn't like Alain Robert. That set him on the wrong path.
Oh, I knew that was gonna. You know.
Why would it?
Because French guys are like catty cunts, is what they are. And you can't. You know. It's,
Yeah.
They're just fucking.
He made it sound like the guy was climbing a ladder. I mean, that's pretty impressive too.
Yeah, he didn't just
Yeah.
do it once either, fucko. He does it all over the world.
right, motherfucker.
Wonder. You fucking sang your modern English. You fucking sang always something there to remind me, and then you fucking retired.
Thank you,
dick.
Norman Greenbaum.
This guy up, Alain Robert is going up and down the buildings, causing a ruckus everywhere. What do? One walk and you're fucking finished.
Watch out, Jimmy. Heard he's downstairs waiting for you.
Big deal. What's he gonna do? Walk across something?
A great-
That was my big comeback.
A great rant, but modern English saying "I'll melt with you,"
What did I say?
You said always something there to
which
remind
is
me.
by that band.
Exactly. Who gives a fuck one and who gives a fuck two?
To remind. I forgot the name of that fucking 80s band. Naked Eyes. Thank you.
Oh,
You're
exactly.
right.
I'm glad I mixed that up.
Wow.
I fucking watched this guy's movie yesterday. Motherfucker. Take your wire and choke yourself.
Chicago.
I'm singing Chicago.
Fucking guy. I should have just talked about Alain Robert more.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who that is. Shut up, you fucking do.
Of course you do.
Liar.
We know.
Oh, me now.
He's lying. I didn't like his
Is
lies.
that the Pakistani version?
Pakistani Chicago. It's a cover band in fucking
Cover
Kabul.
band. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Why don't we?
Right here.
Why don't we do line of?
Where you going? The doctors?
Yeah, I gotta see what this wing's all about. Stupid wing.
Fuck.
Fucking torn tendon.
Me too.
So I have a 11 o'clock actually on the other side of town. All right, fuck you, Philippe Petit. Here's your line of the day.
I was starting to get irritated at one point.
With Philippe?
Yeah. And I can feel
that's all I want
myself.
to talk about. Can we, call me later so we can talk about this asshole for another hour?
Yeah, I would like to.
I'm serious.
I'm annoyed that I don't want to call him out now, and I didn't in front of him, although I was trying to pin him at one point.
What was that?
Just that fucking you do plan and you do look for the negative.
Yeah. Of course
But I
you
didn't do it aggressively, although I should have. So I'm just a douche.
You should have said, did your girlfriend shave her pussy? Or the rest of those dirty French?
I should have said, what would you have done if it snowed that day? Would you have slipped?
By the way, he had this long-term girlfriend that was there for his dream, and he broke up with her after he made the walk. And this French broad goes, it was the perfect time to break up with me.
Exactly.
It was a perfect ending to our relationship.
Can everybody stop taking lemons and trying to make lemonade and just
Right.
admit the guy's a self-centered douche?
Yeah, he dumped you because he knew there's going to be some fucking girls waiting to suck his cock because now he's famous. And she's making it sound romantic.
Christ, it's an easier way to getting pussy than that. Holy
Exactly.
fucking moly.
He tells a story how he had a romp in the hay after that.
Yeah, with who?
Some fan. He got fans immediately.
What was
and
his
he
name?
banged one of them.
Who from
Whoa, hey!
Tom Petite?
All right, fuck Philippe Petit and his fart box.
I love how this.
He just turned on him.
I love how the whole XM show is dedicated to shitting on the guy.
You know why? Because
From the
I
first
invested
show.
a lot of time in this fucking guy with his dumb documentary and fucking Googling my ass off the last few days. This fucking guy. Yeah. He's pissed off because we pronounced his name wrong. Sorry, I'm not French. I did the best I could. I took 2 years of fucking
Exactly.
French. I should have taken 3, obviously.
You're lucky we didn't call you douche with a shitty documentary with no footage in it.
Right.
That's what we should have called you.
Lay douche.
Yeah.
He's all right.
How do you make a fucking hour-and-a-half documentary?
He's
with,
a good kid.
How do you make an hour-and-a-half documentary with 3 pictures of you in between 2 big buildings?
Exactly. We get it. There was a wire. You walked. Right already. Next. What else do you do?
Imagine he was This might be a little sensitive, but imagine Philippe Petit was doing that tightrope act.
Yeah, I was gonna
on
say.
9/11.
I was gonna say that. Oh, that would have been the one you could have really zang him with. Too bad you didn't do it on September 11th. You fucking jerker.
Then now what? Now what, sir? Now what?
You have to just go to the other building. He probably was the only one that survived. Whatever was you wanted to hit you, just go to the other one.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Ooh, walk on a wire. Ooh.
Although I don't know that wire would have held up. See, if one of them went down.
Yeah, but it would have.
What are you using his positive thinking method?
Yes, I would just keep my eye on the thing. Really? What do you do if you drop the stick, faggot? Answer the question.
I didn't answer that either.
Drop the stick.
Yeah, what do you-
Hey, enough. Yeah, but in layman's terms, Jimmy, what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I can't wait to listen to the interview again.
And I was
later
actually
today.
mocking like my hands.
Yeah, put your
being
hands facing up.
Put your hands facing up.
Yeah, what's he gonna? Jimmy gonna fall off his stool 3 feet high? Fucking
Exactly. It's
doesn't
a
really
radio
matter.
show. How about just answering the
He
question?
corrected you on every turn.
I really would like to scream in his fucking face right now, but I just didn't. It was as it was happening. I did not put two and two together. I wish I would have.
By the way, your sweater was awful. It was chilly in studio. He put on the queerest sweater
Exactly.
I've ever seen.
Could have been gay if he put on Rock Hudson's body. If he threw it around himself like a stole, that wouldn't have been gayer.
That's definitely a re-gifter at Christmas.
Oh, it was just
Yeah.
awful.
It's-
Fucking awful.
All right, we got to go because we both have doctor appointments
Yeah,
today.
go fuck yourself, everybody.
Kidding me, sinus.
Why are you going to the doctor? Just think positive. Your nose will clear up.